Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you how I painted my Imperial Navy Thunderbolt fighters for Aeronautica Imperialis. I have got one painted already, and I'm going to follow the exact same steps with this guy, and hopefully he turns out the same. You'll see that we'll go from bare gray plastic right off the sprue to this painted model. Now, in this tutorial, or how I did it of sorts, I am not going to win any awards with this model, absolutely not, but it gets it on the tabletop, it looks good, I'm quite happy with it, so yeah, there we go. So step one, we'll go right into it, is build your model. I decided to build the model completely, including the missiles. I put them right on. When painting it was, there was a bit of a hassle at times to paint those, but in the end, I'm happy that I did that, and I guess I'll keep doing that in the future. Okay, so step one is build. Step two is prime, and I'm using Desert Tan Base. It's a surface primer by Vallejo. So I'm gonna get that ready, and let's see this bad boy primed. All right, so he's all primed up. Now I brushed on the primer. It looks real streaky gross, and it always does with this one. I have the right here. I have German Red Brown, which never looks streaky when I prime with it. I don't know what it is, but this one still, it works fine. You don't actually see the streaks later on. I guess once it's fully dried, it's okay. So yep, I brush primed that guy, and the next step is to use Death World Forest, and I'm going to give him a complete coverage. Everything's going to get this. The metal parts, the canopy, everything's going to be based in this color. Okay, let's get that done. All right, so that was Death World Forest, and he's got two coats, or I guess she, because it's a plane. Two nice thin coats to have some nice coverage without masking any of the details, and the details are exquisite on these models. You know, Games Workshop traditional. I don't know, a lot of people don't care for Games Workshop's business tactics or their games. I get it, but the models, you can hardly beat these models, honest to goodness. Anyway, so before we give the whole thing a wash, we're going to do Averland Sunset. Okay, and that's going to go on these the panels that I want to be this like yellow, well, Averland Sunset, this yellow. So for this first model, I have these two panels on the wings, and then the fin here. That's like just the mohawk of the fin. For this model, I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to do the wings. Let's see, it's going to be like this front and side edge of the wings here, and then the same on the tail fins, these little guys here. Okay, so that's Averland Sunset. Here we go. All right, so he got his Averland Sunset, and he has his wash of Seraphim Sepia. I can see a couple parts that just need to dry up, so as soon as that's dry, I'm going to do a little dry brushing, and that's going to be with Baneblade Brown. Okay, just a little dry brushing all over the place, not too stark. Now, this guy, you can see it in some areas you can't really tell. I'm not a big fan of major dry brushing. I don't like it too stark, so just a little bit on the edges, something light, and I'll get that done. So, oh, at the same time, you know what I'll do? I'll also go back with Averland Sunset and just edge some of these areas that I don't want to be too bright, or sorry, too dark with the wash, that it kind of pooled, kind of got a little chunky. I'll just go over especially the edges, and then any areas where it kind of sat on the flats, and get rid of that, because we don't want to have it too grimy, right? A little bit's not too bad. It is isn't it the grimy dark future? No, it's a grim dark. But yeah, here we go. All right, now that that's done, we are going to move on to the metals. Leadbelcher is just going to give us metals on the weapons, the various engine parts. Nothing too drastic. I did do these little bits underneath here. I chose to do those metal. Okay, and don't forget these little coils on the inside, and all the engine bits. All right, Leadbelcher it is. And of course, now that all the metal's done, we have to go to Nuln Oil on all the metals. All right, so Nuln Oil has been applied to all of the metal bits, and yeah, getting there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Ulthuan Grey. That out of focus. Oh, there we go. Ulthuan Grey, and I'm going to paint two things with that. The missiles. Okay, the missiles are going to get that Ulthuan Grey, and then also the glass of the canopy. Now these are two different steps, but since they both need Ulthuan Grey, I'm going to paint the canopy and the missiles Ulthuan Grey. Okay. The next step, coloring in both of those, I will say in the next step, but Ulthuan, I'm just going to keep saying Ulthuan Grey. Ulthuan Grey are going to go on the missiles and the glass of the canopies. All right, here we go. So I forgot to mention that the canopy job is going to be super messy, and look how gross that looks. Don't worry, we're going to clean up the metal or the greenish parts of the canopy after it's all done. Because the next step is going to be extra messy as well. And that's because I'm using a contrast paint, Ultramarines Blue, to tint the canopy. Now, there are better ways to do this. I just wanted to try it the other time, and I don't mind the way it looks on this one. The bomber, I don't think turned out as nice in most of the windows, but I'm going to try it again. So I've got a nice coat of Ulthuan Grey in the window, and then I'm going to pull this in, and it's going to, I don't know, use it like a wash or a glaze or something. I don't know, I'm sure there are better ways of doing this, but this is what I have at hand, and it's what I'm going to use. And it was a test, you know, trying something new, and I think it worked out okay. Yeah, I think it worked out okay. So yeah, I'm just going to let it pool around and try to cover everything blue and try to leave a little area white. I wanted to do like up in the corner, but in the other model it turned out kind of in the center, which is fine. I don't really care. Now, while I'm washing with pretend washes, I'm going to use Apothecary white on the missiles, and that's going to give it a little gray definition. And if you look at the one that's already done, if you can tell, it does do an okay job. Now, it's not what this is meant for, I'm pretty sure, but it's what I'm using it for. So thanks, Apothecary White, and thanks, Andrew, for letting me borrow these. I don't know what they're used for, but that's what I'm using them for. Anyway, so we've got two pretend washes with contrast paints. Let's do it. So I learned something while doing these canopies that I didn't learn the first time. So I used the Ultramarines Blue, and kind of washed it, and it actually covered almost all of the canopy, which I didn't like. So then I took some of the Apothecary White, which I was using for the missiles, and I actually put a little line or dab in the, you know, in the kind of upper center, and it actually came out nice. That's actually exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to clean up. I did clean up most of around the edge. I'm going to do any more after I've done. I've gone through the whole model and seen if there's any, like, you know, little touch-ups. I see a little bit right there that I need to cover up. The last little details before that, I'm going to use Khorne Red for a couple of things. I'm going to use it for the heads of these bigger missiles here, these interior ones, and then there are like little areas where little lights and little bits here and there for little lenses. So I'm going to use Khorne Red and Cygnar blue base, and if I want to give the little lights a little bit of a shine, I'll use the Cygnar blue highlight. So there's like little lights just at the edge here, and like little I don't know what they are, some kind of digital scoping mechanism thing. I don't know. I'm not a pilot in the 41st millennium, so I don't know what there are. Anyway, so missiles. Missile tips, blue tips for these ones, red tips for these, and then little red and blue details here and there, and then touch up with the base color again, and then he's done. That's it. Finito. And here we go. Other than any other touch-ups I will find down the road, these guys are complete. Little details, like you can see the little lights at the front there, lights on the wings, all done. All the little bits done, again, other than touch-ups, and then the bases. I have to figure out how I'm going to do the bases, but these guys are ready for the tabletop. Not going to win any awards, but definitely going to look good zooming across the skies of whatever planet we're fighting over against the orcs, which are the next project. So I will take pictures after the whole project is done, and I'll make a video of all the close-ups and in-action shots of all of the ships. But thank you for watching. Thanks for coming on this little journey with me. I'll put all of the paints I used in the description, and yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye.